as they go onto the straight. Is he going to make it though? Into the hairpin as he goes right into that. He will make it stick as they now go into the first corner. Alex going back down the inside of Jacob into turn 2. This going into the next right and just past the stricken Aston Martin as Alex is making overtake again from the straight, and he does as well. He goes left into that. Alex with the switchback of dreams, and he's made it work too. Jacob 2 places behind him, now on the run up to him now, trying to make the overtake, and he has made it. Wow! And they now go down off the bridge. Jacob gets back in front onto the straight. Lights out, away we go here at the British Grand Prix at the Leytown International Airport Circuit as we end running down to turn 1. We have Jacob taking the lead in front of Alex as they're now running down to turn 2. Here we have Alex overtaking Jacob going into turn 2, and he makes it happen as well. That's Alex in front of Jacob here in front of turn 3. Maybe turn 4 that is. They're inside of each other. Jacob's going to have to run on him going into the next corner. Alex is going to try and make the move literally up the inside, going into the DRS straight. Who will have DRS here? As Jacob's going to try and make the move now going up the straight, and he does as well. People, welcome to the South Korean race here at the Suwon International Circuit as we get the light sequence underway. If I'm being honest, we messed this up the first time, so this is our second attempt at this, so I have no clue when they go, and it's lights out and away they go here. Going into the first corner, it's Jacob leading from Alex now into the first corner. We now ride with Alex here, who's just behind Jacob, going into the second corner as Alex just about saves it. That was really well done from him now, as we see Jacob now punching a hole for Alex, as Alex still trying to catch up to him. Very easily done, I must say, and they now go into the next corner. Alex now still behind Jacob, catching up there, who has the DRS, and he is using the DRS. As we ride on board with Alex now on the straight, losing time to Jacob. I wonder what has happened there, as he's losing time to him quite rapidly as well, to be fair. Jacob's still in front. Can we see Jacob finally win a race here? Maybe. As I think he's got the advantage here, going through that corner. As we go into the next corner now. Jacob just behind Alex now. Alex still chasing them as they're very laggily going through the straight into the next left-hander. About halfway through the lap now, as it's 150, as Alex has made the move on Jacob, and he's made it stick too, as it seems. As Jacob's now chasing Alex into the next section of corners, going through the S here, and Alex is ahead of Jacob. This is amazing racing, as we're going to be seeing Jacob try to go through on Alex a few more times, as we round off now near the end of the lap, as we're coming through now the final few corners here. Coming round now with the slanted camera angle, coming through the left-hander, not spinning out, getting the DRS, I believe, down the straight, getting the ERS down the straight, getting the slipstream. Jacob still behind Alex, not by much, but it's a very slim margin here. Going up the hill on Alex's spun. Jacob has gone right up and over, and he's done a Nico Hulkenberg. And Jacob now seems like he's out of the running of this Grand Prix, as he's now lost his tyre as well, and he's had to wait a while, and that will not do very good things for him here on lap 2. As I said, that first corner can be quite killer, as Jacob has now found out, spinning out on turn 2. Very unfortunate. Unfortunately, that's how racing is, as we now watch Alex going up the straight now, underneath the Garmelli signs, I believe slowing down for Jacob, which is very sportsmanlike and very professional. It's a kind gesture, I must say, since that was out of his control. And we could say it's like a safety car period. This is like a safety car period, as Jacob has caught up to Alex here in the DRS zone, and we go racing again. It's green flag racing as Jacob's caught up to Alex, braking quite late there. As was he braking too late? He's gone off the track, and now going through the right-hander here, down the little straight into the lefty. still following Alex as we now ride with him. Coming into the S now. Jacob trying his best to try catch up, going past the Gramelli signs again. As Jacob here in the background, as we can see, he's more likely, I think, to crash out of this race since it's Jacob. He does that quite a lot. As we now watch Jacob fly by the camera. Now going onto that main straight here, coming by the final corner. As we now watch Alex drive by into the first corner, and we watch Jacob drive by as well into the first corner as we now ride with him, catching up to Alex, although he's on the worst tyres, so he can last more laps as we now go on to lap number 3 of 10. As we now are with Alex going by the Alpine in the middle of the track there, trying to keep up with the Alfa Romeo there, this year's Alfa Romeo, as Jacob's doing very well here for himself. Now with the ERS coming out of the corner, and I believe he has DRS, but that Williams car is glitched for me, and it doesn't show him with DRS. Doesn't look like he has it though, as he's not really catching up that much, and it looks like he's losing time down the straight to the racing point there. So we go into the next right-hander here. Very long, very well done by Jacob now. Going down onto the next straight here, going through the next S. As we see him coming out of there now onto the DRS zone. With or without DRS, we'll have to wait and see here. As we now see Alex going into the left-hander, follow with the Alfa Romeo following behind. As we see now Alex going down here, going left. As we now watch Alex going through the S section, going very slow as he does so, going through the next corner now, past the Gramelli signs where we were a lap ago, restarting after the safety car period, as we now go right now. Jacob still following close behind the Alfa Romeo. Maybe that'll give him an advantage as he's got the slipstream and the ERS off of him. Maybe even DRS, as it looks like he's losing time to Alex, who's on the superior tyres here. But Jacob has also, I think, got more worn tyres, as we saw earlier. As he spun, we see the Aston Martin going out the pits there. We see Alex just chasing after the Alfa Romeo, and now Jacob going down the straight, full pelting it, as we now go with Jacob through the first corner, as we now go through the we go on the exit of the first corner, now in through the second corner, as that car over there goes straight off. Alex now fighting with the Aston Martin for all his might. Through the DRS zone now, the Aston Martin will have DRS, but that doesn't matter to anyone. Jacob now using his ERS, car going off in the background. Alex now being followed very closely behind by the Aston Martin, which is, I believe, this year's car, although that is a esports livery for this year's car, for last year. Anyway, doesn't matter, as we now watch Alex go through the next corner now. And into the corner with the huge bump, as Alex has taken the jump, and he's gone off! He's spun! Alex has spun! This is the first time I think Alex has ever spun in one of these races, as Jacob now has taken it upon himself to overtake Alex, going through that corner. This is where I think the race will get interesting, as I believe now, as we go on to lap 4, that we're going to be seeing them spinning out quite a lot, as we see Alex there going off. Actually, as we saw, we see the Aston Martin now going off, but as we see the Williams now going through the S, past the Garmelli signs. Alex, wow, he went over the curbs, and I don't know what happened because it lagged a lot for me, but it looks like he went over the curbs and then lost it on the exit as he powered on way too early, spun up those rear tyres, put too much wheel spin there and the turn, and just spun on the exit of the corner. And Jacob is now in the lead of this race now, going on to lap 5, crossing the line here, as we can see, going by at 200 miles an hour. Now we see Alex going by at 200 miles an hour, as we now watch with Alex now on the catch-up game here with Jacob, now going on to lap 5. And Jacob now taking this third corner, and he's obviously going to be now on the straight ahead of Alex. And obviously we've got to see how pit stops go. I think Jacob has got this in the bag, as he's got the longer lasting tyres, and he's also got the advantage of not having spun a lap ago. Alex without DRS, with ERS, catching up to Jacob millisecond by millisecond there. And as Roblox is updating, he's getting further away and obviously then closer, as Jacob now going into that very long right-hander. Now, let's see if he spins out on this corner, the infamous corner. And he's made it through all right, and Alex has lost it, but he's regained it. Wow! As we saw there, he went on 2 wheels. He's really struggling going through that. He went on 2 wheels and regained it. And He saved it. What an impressive save that was. As Jacob now coming through the left-hander. And Alex also now coming through the left-hander. Just a second behind now as we're going to start the 6th lap in a second. Jacob now coming through the right-hander and now the left-hander. As we continue with the left-hander, going through the S now. As we watch Alex in the background following suit. As we now see Jacob going through the right, almost like a hairpin. Going through here. Now down the mini straight just before the final 2 corners. Alex trying his best to catch up, doing well as well as we go on to the 7th lap, I believe this will be. We now watch Jacob then going through the final corner. Alex too. None of them lose it. Going down the main straight now. As you see Alex following Jacob now. Going through the first corner. Let's watch on board with Alex just to see how he's doing here. Not by much, Alex is gaining a little bit. And he's gaining a lot. He's using tons of ERS there to try and catch up. Jacob now using a burst of ERS, now using more ERS. Alex then with the DRS and the ERS isn't going to put up to make the overtake. So Jacob is actually starting to be reeled in a little bit. And Alex on the straight has made the overtake. Jacob now with the slipstream and the ERS going into the next corner. Jacob has regained it back, but Alex has got through. And Alex has made the overtake. And it looks like Jacob is coming back at him though. Going through the next corner here. Alex going a little bit wide. Jacob with the overtake. Wow. Jacob then gets through on Alex. And he's now a second ahead. And the order's been rejumbled like it was a minute ago. Wow. As we now watch them going through the next corner here. Now through the left-hander. Let's see if Alex will make another move then. As we see him getting very close behind. And he's going through the S's now. He has a lot of opportunities here. Alex is going to take this one. And he's going through on him as it seems. They're going into the better line. And Alex has got back in front. And it's now Alex leading from Jacob then as Jacob goes for it again. But he hasn't made it stick this time. And he's now following Alex with the ERS and the slipstream now. We are now being back to what it was like on lap 2 here after Jacob went off, if you can remember. Going now through the final corner. None of them choosing to pit just yet. And Jacob's gone off. Jacob has used a lot of sausage curb there. As he's now going by the start, going to the end of the start-finish line. As Alex now in the first corner. Jacob far behind now. As the order has now been reshuffled. And it seems like Alex is in the lead of this race now. On lap 8. As we now see Jacob then going through the DRS zone just now. Alex there, about 5 seconds in front. Jacob looks like he's gaining there. Alex still on the better tyres. Jacob on less worn tyres. We've got 2 laps left to go, including the we've got 3 laps actually left to go, or 2 laps in a bit, to be precise. As Alex now takes that corner quite well. Jacob just behind. This is a very difficult track, and it's quite infamous as well for being quite difficult for people to handle as well. As we see Jacob there in the background going through the corner as Alex now through the lefty. Jacob now going through the lefty too, as we now going to ride with Jacob just to see what he's seeing right now. And he's seeing the rear of Alex's car, funnily enough, as we go through the next corner. And we're about to start lap 9, if I'm correct. And Jacob then coming through the S is still gaining on Alex, I think. As it looks like he's gaining up about 5/10 a lap, if I'm correct. As we now watch Alex going through the next corner. And we now watch on board as he goes through the final 2 corners. Almost losing it there, deep in control of the car. Doing quite well. As we see him now go into the pit. Alex is in the pits. Let's see what Jacob decides to do. Jacob stays out. Jacob is staying out here today. As we now watch Jacob fly past on those hards. Is that the good strategy call? It might be. I think that could be the right strategy call. As we now watch Alex go onto those medium tyres again. If I were him, I'd go onto the softs until the end. As we now watch him on lap 9 now, going out of the pits. And we've now got to wait a second, as I am not currently spectating anyone, which is quite sad if I'm being honest, because now we have no clue what the action's like. As we are now going to be spectating some other people to try to find out what's going on up ahead. As we're now with board here. On board, no help. As we hope that Jacob then gets round the final few corners in a second, because not being able to spectate him is it's quite frustrating, and I think I've made a big mistake there. But anyway, it's just a waiting game at the moment, and I'm missing all of the action right now, as there's Jacob trying to catch up to Alex on the hards, and Jacob trying to get away from Alex on the hards here on lap 9. And I'm missing all of this action here, as there's someone else coming out the pits now. And if I'm being honest, that's a lot of people coming out the pits now. Jacob here, then. We can now finally spectate him again, as he is ahead of Alex by a good 20 seconds. Alex obviously going to be gaining on Jacob quite a lot, as we are now able to spectate him as well. With his front wing attack, looks like nothing has happened so far, yet Jacob's fine too, as he's now going by the AlphaTauri. He's stuck in the middle of the track there. Jacob pitting now. I honestly would go straight to the end if I were him, as this is lap 9 of 10. Alex now rounding the final few corners then. Now going on to the main straight. Jacob losing out on that position. I don't think this has been a good pit stop call. Neither does he, as Alex goes flying by. Jacob then going onto the soft until the end of the race. Honestly, if he hadn't pit, he would be winning right now, and I think he would have won the race, as Alex then now 3 corners in front. Jacob is, I think, hoping that Alex does an absolute misery and slams the car into the wall on one of the laps, as he's now got DRS now on the final lap of the race, as he's now sprinting all the way up the DRS straight as fast as he can. Jacob then, not that far behind, looks like he's catching up quite very well, as we see now Alex then going into the next corner. He's going to be pushing like hell, as they say, to get the victory here and to extend his lead to 8 points if I'm correct, maybe even 9. As now, Alex on the DRS straight, watching Jacob then round that corner now. Yeah, and onto the straight. He's not lost the front wing, so nothing's happened so far. We're now going to ride on board with Alex here, coming through what seems to be the final few corners. We have missed out on that one corner, which we all absolutely hate. Jacob then also got through there quite fine. So we're now hoping that Alex makes a huge mistake on this final lap and goes wide or crashes or does something very stupidly bad that causes him the race, as he's now going down one of the final straights through this left-hander now, not going off the track, and it seems as though our winner for the South Korean Grand Prix here in Suwon is going to go to Alex. And wow, what a race it has been, as we now watch Jacob coming through the final corner to finish second here in Suwon. And this has been a race. Watching Alex go from second place to first place in the span of like half a lap. Watching Jacob then leading the race for a few laps, making the horrible decision to pit and ultimately losing the lead of the race. I think he would have won if he hadn't pit there. But that was a very strategic call from him, maybe, as I'm not too sure if we have any more laps in this race, but I'm pretty sure it is finished. So that has been the South Korean Grand Prix. Alex has won it. Jacob still trying to catch up there. We're going to ignore that. And thank you very much for watching. Congratulations to Alex, who has now extended his lead in the World Drivers' Championship then, going into round 6. Thank you very much. Have a good day and goodbye.